I'm at the Lal Bagh Road right now, Lal Bagh Gardens right now. And as usual, I'm sitting around contemplating about this and that. Yeah, it's kind of like my habit probably, because why life probably thought to, in some way, that I better be on this side amongst humans. And here I'm sitting around and contemplating on this and that, commenting about this and that, and why things are not working, and what is missing, trends which make a difference, and all those things. So why am I saying this? There's often this question: who am I? What am I? Why am I here? What's the purpose of me being here? And those kinds of questions. So I guess I've been doing this like timelessly, and I was probably doing the same thing on the other side of life. So life, and then I keep finding answers, and then one of these answers should be of benefit. So probably today my thinking is that life put me this side of life, like amongst life. So anyhow, I'm doing the same thing only. Why am I here? Who am I? All this stuff. And whatever answers I find, like an earthworm, digest the process, so whatever your thoughts is then put out as products. Yeah. So I'm continuing to do that right now. So I happened to watch this movie yesterday. It's called The NeverBeast. I've watched it on Disney Plus Hotstar. And there's this reference of this NeverBeast, an ancient beast, lovely being, ferocious to look at, but who sleeps for about 1,000 years. Yeah, until a comet passes by, when this beast awakens, and it goes about building 4 towers. It's like a spoiled, but okay. You should watch the movie to actually get what I'm saying. But I'm only just highlighting those points which is of relevance to my story, so what I'm saying here. And from the towers he harnesses the lightning from the green clouds. Yeah. And then that's it. All of this is over, and again he goes back to sleep for another 1,000 years. Yeah. So that's the thing. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, Sri Kempegowda, he built a garden, yeah, the Lal Bagh Gardens, and he built 4 sentinel posts, yeah, 4 posts, apparently in the outermost outskirts of the garden, or what he thought was the outermost layers of Bengaluru, or he thought how far Bengaluru will go, and then he built waterways to supply water throughout the city, 365 days. So I'm just wondering if there was a comet that did fly by, and Sri Kempegowda woke up, and in response to the ancient beast. The beast is in reference to also the sacred geometry. Sacred geometry, when you're going through those flowers and seeds and the different formations, you come to the beast of sacred geometry, the beast of integrity. So I'm thinking there are these movements through what we call as community, and the formation of the beasts of integrity. There are different beasts. Every formation, every seed, the formation of a seed, of a flower, everything has a beast. You can call it as a bee, as in being, east, yeah, one who is from the being of such integrity. It is who I think is called a beast, yeah, beast of sacred geometry, beast of integrity. So the Mahabharata also says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirva bhavati bharata abhyutan abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham, yeah, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So I'm guessing if Sri Kempegowda in some way arose at that time to re-establish some very necessary important things, so that dharma is restored and also becomes better and it becomes healthier. the garden is proof of that, is what I'm thinking. And then I'm thinking, again the comments flew by, and then I hit nothing. And then I went about what is missing, the presence of which will make a difference. And I have 4 towers, so to speak, yeah, which is Meristem intelligence therapy, NeverBeast yoga, connect dot, Dharmapada soul satisfaction. 4 trademark names is what has come about over time, and from them have the multiples of which have formed 10 trademarks. Yeah, one happened to be there. These are the names which are there. Say for example, Dharmapada soul satisfaction. Okay, let's just say Dharmapada soul satisfaction had to be registered also online. Yeah, only that trademark wouldn't be accepted, and hence the online also was registered. So I have 2 for Dharmapada soul satisfaction. Thereby the 5th, yeah, NeverBeast yoga. Since it has a medical facility, a medical aspect to it, and also a yoga aspect to it, so it's like an exercise. There is an instruction aspect. So I registered under both, and then it had to have an online registration. Otherwise, I couldn't really speak about it on online platforms. You know, those, at least at that time, that was the injunction which I was present to, that it needs to have an online for me to be able to advertise it. Otherwise, you know, it would not be valid, relevant, or it would be questioned, and those kinds of things. So it's like, you know, it is like a jurisdiction mandate that I should also apply for online. So at that time, those were the mandates by which I had to operate. It was just like, this is how it's done, this is what is necessary. And hence, I have 3 trademarks on NeverBeast yoga. So similarly, out of 4 names, 10 trademark names have come about. And the 10 is kind of very serendipitously, question mark, yeah, I don't know if it's serendipitously, but 10 trademarks, yeah, and the 11th one is the logo. And if you think of it in terms of Vedic mathematics, there is the Ekadashi, yeah, there is 10 plus 1, 11. So if you see about how mathematically precise this is, so I think there is a certain intelligent design which I'm thinking has come alive. It's like, now to do this job, these are required, and then the intelligent design just moves and then falls into place that this is how it's required. There is no questions about it. And I'm like, this is all the option that is available. I just have to register for online. I just have to register for the medical and the instructional. So 10 trademarks plus 1 logo. And then the Mighty Baby, the logo which is formed in the way it has, that also has certain sacred geometry things. It has so many Shri Yantras within that same image. And then how my programs are getting created is from that image. So there is a certain, it's like the 4 names are like the 4 towers, is harnessing in some way the lightning from the Dharma Mega Samadhi, the green clouds, yeah, so that all that there is becomes better, so that our and my work is about sanitizing Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, and you know what I'm talking about as sanitizing Dharma. So and I'm talking about non-violence, and then a healthier way of organic living, and those kinds of thoughts is what I'm saying. So I'm thinking in some way, I'm also in some way creating the forest of life from the garden of life, but then I'm also talking in terms of our body, and talking in terms of NeverBeast yoga, as in from a person-centric model of the universe. So I'm thinking, I'm kind of working so the garden is experienced in the body, so that the animals are all tamed, and you know we are all just human beings and not growling animals. So a garden you would not see wild animals in a garden. So I guess that's the reference in the biblical terms on what the Garden of Eden means. And then I'm talking about the forest of life, where each person is a garden, and as we are living coexistently amongst different people, each person is like a tree of life. So it's a garden of life, and in a forest there is space for our animal spirits, counterparts, to have a play, but in such a way that we are actually supporting each other. Each animal has its own place, its own role in the scheme of things. So we are managed, we are maintained, um, ecologically balanced. So and in such a way that you're actually maintaining the forest of life, such that the whole is becoming wholesomer, and humanely, so that everybody has sufficient food to eat. Nobody's eating each other. Yeah. And the circle of life, the cycle of life, has that humanity across boundaries, so that life is maintained sustainably, welcomingly, um, peacefully, harmoniously. That's actually the music, yeah. And so that disease is not the normal, but normal, ordinary living is the normal, where our doing is causing trouble, but our being is maintaining us. The animals be animals, plants be plants, people be people, humans be humans. So I was just thinking, I was just looking around, just thinking, I was basically just getting myself together, because when I often find that when I'm too much amidst the crowd, I also need a little, restore my self space. So I've been looking at different ways by which to do that, and this garden seems to be a place where I think it's like built for people to refine themselves. By Sri Kempegowda and team, a lot of people. So I'm thinking. I was just thinking in terms of Hatha Yoga and NeverBeast Yoga, and I was thinking Hatha Yoga is there's a lot of doing, yeah, extension, relaxation, stretching, the structure, and so it's the dual sides of Hatha, yeah, polarities, and there's a lot of doing and being, and then it's still doing. You're still inhaling, yeah, and then exhaling. There's a lot of doing. And NeverBeast Yoga, I'm talking about more in terms of being, as in from the being arises the doing, and the doing that arises from such being gives rise to the doing which maintains the being, is my philosophy of thinking. So you could call it as a yang method of yoga, but then yang would not be sufficient. So I'm thinking in terms of, I'm using the word from Ashes of Love. It's called Yang Yuing. I don't know, Yang Yu. Yeah. It's called, the Night Immortal was speaking to Kualung, and he's describing about Yang Yu, and he says it's a star who's behind the moon. You can't see it. It's mysterious, and hence mysterious. Yeah, and the influence of what this mystery does, we don't know, because it has its own logic. Yeah. So I'm talking NeverBeast Yoga in terms of the path of the unknown. So I think what I'm making available through NeverBeast Yoga is the Yang Yu, so that mystery has a place in the scheme of things, is accounted for, and whose logic is part of what yoga is, part of how life is formed, how life takes shape. And through my journey, it has often occurred to respect the unknown. Yeah. So from there has become many inquiries leading up to Meristem intelligence forming. So maybe the comet did pass by, and then I had nothing, and then it's like, what is missing? The presence of which would make a difference. I became this odd one, perpendicular, walking around amidst all the people, inquiring about, looking in patterns, and then documenting at one point or the other, little by little, somewhere, until Meristem intelligence formed, and we have now 4 pillars, from which has arisen 10 stars, planets, universes, and the 11th being the logo, but all of which together is called as Ekadashi, and there's a 41 mandala, and all of this Sanatana Dharma maths kind of makes sense. from this, and I haven't learned any of these. I read books, a line here, a sentence there, a word here, but then when I read the words, to me, they seem to be put together in a very different way than how it's being told. And I see there are many ways by which the same word can be pronounced and hence also interpreted in many ways than just a fixed one way of what the word is. And it's like you have these Lego pieces. When you take a word, if you break up the word and then you put the parts of the words with other words, it forms, adjacent words in the sentence. It forms different other meanings. So that's also kind of a little bit of how. So what I understand when I read these textbooks may be different from what people have been reading and interpreting them as, and hence what I'm able to see as what is missing, the presence of which will make a difference, comes from these different perspectives, which I together kind of call as the connect dot method. Yeah, how I connect dot by which to make sense of what is missing, the presence of which will make a difference. And hence it's the Yang Yu method. It's Nirbija Yoga, but it's also the path of the unknown, by which the unknown is guiding the understanding of the known. And what seems to be known, you begin to see what is unknown in what is already known. And hence, what is known is appreciated in a new way. And hence, what is, like what you see, is no longer the same, because you are now seeing what is from a newer perspective, from a newer light, and from a newer understanding. And hence, what you have right now and what you do with what you have right now is different. And hence, it becomes possible to better what is in light of what is now seen. Yeah. So I hope this gives a little understanding of the perspective, some of the paradigm from which Meristem intelligence works, from which I work, by which Meristem intelligence takes shapes. And when I say Meristem intelligence, I'm going to put it together simply, it is me. Yeah. So when I say my world and when I say me, the person, like I, me, okay, inside I as a person is a me, the experiencer, and within each person is this experiencer. So the world of the experiencer is in several ways hidden by the good self, by the bad self, by the real self, by how people are perceiving, and hence is in many ways unknown. So what I'm kind of doing here is when I say Terabithya, I'm also talking about the country of me. Yeah, each person has a me, but but the land, the terrain, the landscape, mindscape, intellectual scape, spiritual scape, consciousness, and love, and true love at that, from these perspectives may not be so easily accessible, because we have come to so many levels of how-tos, patterns of how to do things, how to live life, how to eat, how to talk with others, how to do business, how to anything. Yeah, so much so that the natural microcosm, who's in sync with the macrocosm, and hence what the macrocosm is, or the macrocosm in sync with the microcosm, and hence what the microcosm is, yeah, may not be as well appreciated, because these perspectives needs to be lived through and experienced to understand. Yeah, and hence what I'm seeing from the perspective that I am, the comet flew and then I was like, yo, okay, I'm like this NeverBeast or something. So I'm putting out what I'm finding on my website, and then I'm creating courses, because there's a journey by which each of these four pillars, connect dot, Meristem intelligence, as a concept and also as a therapy, yeah, Nirbija Yoga, and then Dharmapada for soul satisfaction. Each of these are four towers sentinel, sentient beings too, who bring forth Chaturdasha is one idea by which to understand that, as in 4 pillars, Chatvari Chaturdasha. And there's a certain continuation of this idea across time and space of the relevance of this. So maybe I was on the other side of life, I was contemplating all of this, and then you better be in this side because you're useless that side. And here there is so much of trouble, you might as well just be contemplating and then talking all of this anyways, and I may be already eating their heads. So there's no use of eating their heads, so I'm on this side, so eat other people's heads, kind of. Yeah, so at least you will start thinking along these lines, and then this place becomes better. So maybe that's why life put me on this side. Yeah, or hell put me on this side. I don't know, or heaven put me on this side, I don't know, but it seems like I'm better on this side than that side. So we better sit here and whatever problem that I've been seeing, and then whatever is missing, instead of complaining to somebody else who cannot, I might as well just go solve the problems that you see, kind of like I'm here. I must be a trouble in a lot of people's hair. So I'm a hairy fairy or something. Medusa comes to mind, but it's more like instead of complaining and hissing about something's not working, I might as well go solve the problem. So I'm here with an enterprise to solve this issue about me and our experiences. The me is there in everybody, and each one is one way or the other dealing with this. So if any of this makes sense to you, and if any of this is of value, which I'm thinking, hoping, actually dare to think that everybody does, one way or the other, is dealing with this. But it's about how soon are you going to see that I'm not just doing this for me, but I'm actually doing for the me that is in everybody. And hence, what is continuing to be missing, the presence of which would make a difference, in us having humanity cross boundaries, in us having the kind of life that we deserve, that we are actually having a birthright, but which has not had that foundation by which to stand by and then say, this is true love, this is living and not just surviving. When you can see what Meristem Intelligence is doing as an enterprise from these perspectives, then you'll be able to appreciate the programs, the offerings, and who I am and what am I doing and what is available to you through these paradigms. Yeah, thank you for listening.